Daniel Bryan does not give a S about like chiming off and speaking his opinion. So he's been working for Vince for so long to get to the moment, the yes movement, win at WrestleMania. But Vince still sees him how he saw him when he walked in on the first day at NXT, this undersized, kind of dorky, bearded, vegan weirdo.
Let's talk about Daniel Bryan opening up with this conversation with Vince McMahon. He said, when I won the world championship at WrestleMania 30, I wasn't their guy. They still had plans like, okay, we really want to transition to Roman Reigns being the guy. Vince legitimately sat me down and told me that. It was really funny because the conversation was like, okay, so we have these great plans. This is like a week after I had won the title or whatever. And we've got these big plans. We'll have a couple of title defenses for you between now and SummerSlam. But at SummerSlam, you'll wrestle Brock Lesnar and he'll destroy you. Then we'll build up Brock Lesnar for Roman Reigns and Roman will be the next John Cena. He's telling this to me and I'm like, that's great, but I would kind of like to be the next John Cena. Remember seeing the look on Vince's face where he was just like, oh, I didn't think you even saw that as a possibility for yourself. It was really funny. Then this is the only time Vince has ever backtracked with me. He said, well, nobody can really be the next John Cena, you know? So that's Daniel Bryan's conversation with Vince McMahon as far as being the next John Cena. So full circle when it comes to Vince McMahon being Vince McMahon. Vince Russo, what's saying you about this?
I could tell you I was not in that room. That 1,000% happened. 1,000% happened. They put the belt on him because the mob was demanding it. They never wanted to put it on him, and they couldn't wait to take it off of him. Like that is.
But just think about this, Vince, for a second. You've got a grown man in the office with Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
and Vince. He feels like he has such a psychological grip on everybody in that building that he thinks that a grown man will actually lay down to him as far as being fodder for someone else to be the heir apparent to John Cena. Bro, that's some gonads if I ever saw it.
You want to know something, bro? Here's something. And this is the God honest truth, because this was, bro, like when he gave me the, hire a nanny. He had no idea what he was saying. And that's my point, Chris. What I'm trying to say is, bro, Vince McMahon had no friends. I don't think he was around enough people to have personal, like me and EC3, like every week, my God, bro, the shit we get into on the show. I don't think Vince McMahon really had those conversations with people where he really understood like human nature. He definitely didn't understand people's feelings. I could tell you that. So, bro, when Daniel Bryan is sitting, I think Vince is totally oblivious to it. I really believe he is oblivious to what Daniel Bryan is feeling at that moment. I don't think he was capable of understanding.
I can absolutely understand why you said that, 100%. Psychologically, I can totally understand why you say that and what you mean. Not only, you working with him, but just someone with the tendencies of either narcissism, psychopathy, or a cocktail of them both would definitely be someone who doesn't care two craps about the feelings of someone else. At the end of the day, I'm using you for a bigger purpose. That's what psychopaths do. And that is what we're going to have this conversation. And I'm completely oblivious to the damage that it could have to you psychologically. Yeah. You're a means to an end to me. To me, you're a means to an end. And from a psychopathic standpoint, that's how they treat people. You are a means to an end. And in this room, at that office, I'm not even thinking about your feelings. I'm not thinking about your family. I'm not thinking about you being the next John Cena. To me, you're a means to an end. And the very fact that I'm so clueless to your feelings, I'm going to tell you to your face that I'm expecting you to lay down to my concept, to my idea of you being fodder to Roman Reigns. I mean, that's what it boils down to.
I say this all the time. When Austin was on his rise, I watched Vince McMahon kick Shawn Michaels to the curb. That's where all the heat with Shawn came. That's where it all came. I saw him kick Shawn. He was on to the next thing, bro. That's where the heat started between them.
Check out BrainBuster, the daily quiz that tests your WWE knowledge with winning streaks, stats, and more. It's time to see if you're up for the challenge.
EC3, what do you say, my man?
So I'm really interested in kind of the Steve Shawn story. Yeah, I think Dr. Chris laid it out, especially the first word that came to mind was like narcissism. And if you do any research, like not Lex Luger narcissist, like a guy who's obsessed with his vanity, but like true narcissism is like hard to describe. And it very much has like, they have no concept or idea of the feelings and empathy of others. Like is it a disease, condition? Like it's truly like hard to handle a true narcissist. Trust me, I know. I'm in wrestling. So hearing that makes a lot of sense. Correct me if I'm wrong, but SummerSlam, was that the SummerSlam that year where Daniel Bryan wrestled John Cena instead?
Yeah, but he was fodder to Orton though.
Right.
Because Orton cashed in the Money in the Bank and Triple H.
For any wrestling fan, if you watch those series between Orton and Bryan, they're incredible matches.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I agree.
But like John was looking not for the next him, but somebody that can handle the rigors and what is necessary to be the top guy. He was always looking for that, and I do believe he saw it in Daniel Bryan. Not only because they ended up kind of almost being brother-in-laws, but because John was a very, very big advocate of like the mob, maybe against Vince's best wishes. But one thing he'd always like, if they're reacting within these reasons and with these emotions, it's because it's supposed to be, and like you are where you're supposed to be. So like, I think that John put him over clean at SummerSlam too. And I bet that was his idea. So John Cena himself saw the John Cena qualities in Daniel Bryan, whereas Vince McMahon did not. And when Dr. Chris laid out the like grown ass man laying down a fodder, like, man, that's very true. It's very funny. Vince also hated, to my recollection, anybody being compared to John Cena. So it's funny that he would compare Roman to it. Roman's obviously was the next guy, but I do remember even I had John Cena comparisons when I was coming up from NXT, and I think that's one thing that really hampered me. I mean, handsome, short-haired, good-looking, hard worker, great worker, but also like, I kind of move weird sometimes, and I get it. So I had those comparisons, and I remember in a production meeting was being told that, yeah, someone compared you to John Cena, and then Vince went, nobody's going to be John Cena. Nobody. So certainly not Derek Bateman, but Daniel Bryan, I guess, either. So, but it's funny how it worked out. So Brock's going to take you to SummerSlam. He's going to murder you. And, whatever, man. Well,
And you're going to like it. And he expected Daniel Bryan to be like, yes, sir. Thank you for thank you for the meeting. Have a good day, buddy.
I can't wait for this title run to be over.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to lay down a Brock Lesnar, and then we're going to make Roman Reigns the next John Cena. How about that, pal?
Vince too.
Great idea, Vince. What? It's insane, man. It's insane.
If he has a perception or a thought how somebody is, when they're not like that, he still doesn't comprehend it. So Daniel Bryan on the surface is a smaller guy who's whatever they try, dorky or weird, or he reads books. What a loser. Like, he's not the atypical prototype alpha tough guy that maybe Vince saw. But at the same time, Daniel Bryan does not give a S about like chiming off and speaking his opinion. So he's been working for Vince for so long to get to the moment, the yes movement, win at WrestleMania. But Vince still sees him how he saw him when he walked in on the first day at NXT, this undersized, kind of dorky, bearded, vegan weirdo. And like, he's never, and they've worked together for years, and he still saw that. Well, like, Daniel Bryan is anything but that, especially when it comes to like, if you're going to try to like verbally push him around, he's going to like kind of smirk at you, he's going to laugh, and he's going to fire right back.
You know, it's interesting that you said vegan, because that's what I was thinking of. Do you think that Vince, you know, taking back steaks, you know, by the week, you know, do you think that he had any type of just don't sneeze in front of me pettiness to Daniel Bryan being a vegan?
100%. He would, I mean, I don't know for sure. As I said, my interactions were brief, but I guarantee he holds unnecessary grudges for weird things that especially he cannot comprehend. While I am no vegan, I certainly understand why someone would want to be or try. Vince,
what do you think, Vince?
1,000%. 1,000%. Because he would not understand the whole vegan thing. He would not get it, bro. He would not get it.
Hilarious, man. Someone is not being pushed. Someone is going to be a grown man being fodder to Roman Reigns because he's a vegan, ladies and gentlemen. He's a vegan.
I am a veganist.
You know, think about the psychology of that too. Like, that makes absolutely no sense, because you would think Vince would be a master psychologist. Why would you tell somebody you're going to take the belt off of them, and when now they got no incentive?
Exactly.
If Daniel Bryan didn't know, now he's working his ass off for them to keep the belt on him.
Yeah.
You know, that from a psychological standpoint, that makes zero sense to me.
But again, if you deal with psychopathy, my relationship with you is a means to an end.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how people with those tendencies think, man. They manipulate people. The only thing that you are to me is you're a pawn to my checkmate.
Bro,
I mean,
bring in the next cattle. Bring in the next side. That's what it is. Bring in the next one. Bring in the next one.
Brandon that stuff. Who's next? Bam!
Yep.
Bam!
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Vince Russo. We have EC3. I am Dr. Chris. This is the Wrestling Outlaws. Have a good night, everybody. So long.